Princess is a really damn good movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't his best.
I mean, I think we all know which Alfonso Cuarón film is the best one, right, guys?
Yeah.
Do we want to grab lunch before the next one, man?
Yeah, I'm on it. Man, Alfonso Cuarón is like, he's a film genius. He's like a cinematic mastermind. And that's best seen in one of his earlier works, And Your Mother Too. It's about these two guys, they go on this big adventure with this woman that they just met, going across Mexico, and they just really want to bang.
¿Sabes? La primera vez me llevó a la fábrica donde trabajaba un tío suyo de guardia de seguridad. Yo estaba muerta de miedo, apenas le conocía. Y bueno, pensaba que me quería besar, pero no. ¿Qué me has dicho?
Alfonso explores many themes within his films, such as mortality. This is best seen at the end of the film, where Louisa dies. Now this is actually foreshadowed throughout the entire film, where every scene that she's in, death is either seen or it's discussed. Now, another thing that they discuss within the film is socio-economic stature. This is best seen between the boys at the start of the film, one being far richer than the other. And of course, the last thing that they discuss within the film is sexuality, and that one is the most important. And Your Mother Too uses technology very limitedly within this film. They chose not to use it as opposed to having a full set because they wanted to capture that awkwardness. They did this because, just like The Boys of a coming of age story, Alfonso sees Mexico as a coming of age around the time period where it only just started with democracy.
Perfecto.
No, pero ¿qué les hacéis ahí?
Pues primero un fajecito, ¿no? Para calentar el sartén.
Acá unos besitos en las chichis, unas mordiditas bien cachondas.
¿Y después?
Yo después se la meto enterita hasta dentro toda.
¿Y qué más?
Yo le sigo dando hasta que la mato.
¿Pero y nada más?
Nada más. No, hombre, si la salsa se contonea, se revuelca y gime cual ostión con limón.
Now, many viewers noticed that the film had a very impromptu tone to it, but every single scene was heavily choreographed down to a push or a shove, which is best seen in the fight scene.
¡Pásate, cabrón! ¡Pásate, cabrón! ¡Que nos vamos a partir la madre, güey!
¡Tu madre, cabrón!
¡Abre, puto!
Oye, chicos, ya.
¡Abre, cabrón!
¡Vete a la... ¡Clásico! ¡A huevo! Te tenía que salir lo pinche nacote, güey.
¡Pues este pinche naco te va a partir toda tu madre, cabrón!
¡Me la pelas, naco! ¡Me la pelas!
¡Bájate, cabrón!
¡Chinga tu madre, güey!
¡Julio de mierda!
¡A la verga!
¡Mátale, güey!
¡Naco! ¡Me la pelas, naco!
¡No te metas, bájate!
¡Iros a tomar por culo a la mierda!
¡Vete a la verga!
¡Cámaras, gilipollas! Pensé que erais distintos, pero sois las mismas bestias. ¡Qué manifiesto ni qué charolastras de mierda! Si ni siquiera respetáis vuestros propios mandamientos. Como todos los tíos, marcando territorio y dándoos de hostias cuando lo único que os gustaría sería follar el uno con el otro. ¡Eso es lo que os gustaría! ¿Qué más da si os habéis acostado con la novia del otro? ¿Qué más da, coño, con lo rápido que os corréis los dos?
Throughout the film, Alfonso uses exclusively wide shots so that the audience, when viewing, can explore around with their eyes. Couple this with handheld and constant movement, and you get a really compelling shot. I can honestly say that Alfonso really inspires me. I love the constant movement within his films and his voyeuristic aspects where you can see the characters from a different perspective. Now, I was also...
sorry, just gotta get something. So I'll be out of your hair.
Yeah.
Every flavored beans, you know, from Harry Potter. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Alfonso Cuarón's best film is definitely Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
I'm not done yet. Wait, hold up, I'm not done yet.
Obviously, Chris Columbus directed 2 films before, but the best thing I can say about those is, I guess they're charming in their own way.
Blimey, Harry, didn't you ever wonder where your mum and dad learned it all?
What?
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
But Columbus left, and a new director had to be found. The characters were growing up, and the films had to go in a new direction, and so Alfonso Cuarón was brought on to do the next film. After working on The Little Princess, he clearly knew how to make something magical. And after making that weird Mexican sex film, he obviously understood adolescence. Something important Cuarón brought to the Harry Potter films was a real sense of intimacy between the main trio.
Professor? Professor Lupin?
Stop it.
Malfoy! Wait! Wait! Harry!
Bloody hell, Harry. That was not funny.
Interestingly, Cuarón didn't even want to take the job when he was offered it. Man, that was horrible. Anyway, when he told his friend and fellow filmmaker Guillermo del Toro apparently yelled at him so bad that it forced Cuarón to read the books. Midway through reading the third book, Cuarón called del Toro back and told him that he was wrong. Clearly, del Toro's tough love worked, because when Cuarón took the job, it's clear that his passion for the film leaks through every frame. The film opens with Cuarón's staple handheld style, and it's already evident that this is an Alfonso Cuarón film.
Nothing. School stuff.
Later, perhaps, if you behave.
I will if she does.
Oh, you're still here, are you?
Yes.
Say yes in that ungrateful way. Good of my brother to keep you. He'd have been straight into an orphanage if he'd been dumped on my doorstep.
Cuarón is probably most known for his long takes, and they are everywhere in this film, to make scenes feel natural and make them feel real. This conversation hits home because it's focused and feels like we're just observing two people talk to each other.
Your father, James, on the other hand, he had a certain, shall we say, talent for trouble. A talent, rumor has it, he passed on to you. You're more like them than you know, Harry. In time, you'll come to see just how much.
The camera is rarely stationary, and there are magical details scattered throughout the film. Every frame is interesting, and you're always engaged.
Room 11.
Hedwig.
Right, smart bird you got there, Mr. Potter. He arrived here just 5 minutes before yourself.
And to top it all off, Cuarón looked like he was having a great time on set.
It looks good when you... Okay, move that, please. And now do the sound. Do the sound. Move this. Okay.
Now, the only trouble with the wire on the hair.
Alfonso Cuarón only ever directed one Harry Potter movie, but it'll always be my favorite one. Hey Jayden, I'm going to the shops. Do you want anything?
Yeah, can you just grab some cola?
Sure. I am so glad Guillermo del Toro yelled at Alfonso Cuarón that one day. I could honestly go on about this film forever.
After Cuarón's massive success directing the third Harry Potter film, Warner Brothers was ready and willing to throw him anything he needed. And thus was born a project he'd been trying to get into the air for years prior. Children of Men. Every last woman on Earth has become infertile, and race-fueled violence tears apart what's left. Children of Men is a world where neighbor can't trust neighbor, and refugees are forced into hellish slum cities. It was a bleak future, but one Cuarón saw just around the corner. When he first read the treatment for Children of Men, he was interested, but he just couldn't get fully invested. Later that same day, when he was trapped at a festival he was attending due to a massive terror attack at the World Trade Center, he reconsidered. Now the world was changing, and it was becoming a scary place, and Cuarón kept his finger on the pulse the whole while. He warned of the global refugee crisis years before it hit the mainstream. Children of Men has been said to be near prophetic, but Cuarón has shot this down, saying he just saw the problem while it was a smaller phenomenon. Children of Men depicts people of all backgrounds trapped in camps, each and every one of them stuck in the same terrible situation. During casting for the refugee extras, Cuarón set specific percentages of people who had to be certain ethnicities and from specific backgrounds. In this way, he could subtly portray the possibility for anyone to fall prey to these horrible situations. By this point in his career, Cuarón had made his style a trademark. And with a new film comes new heights. And he had shots prepared that would take up to 5 hours of prep time. For one of them, he had 14 days to film it. By the 12th day, he still had nothing. Eventually, on the very, very last day, on the very last shot, he got it. And it just so happened to be the most famous shot in the film, the blood spatter shot on the bus. The film, like most of his other work, revolves around some facet of childhood, specifically the importance of both the hope for the future and the horror of a world without childlike immaturity. He portrays a world where those of the older generations have practically destroyed both Earth and humanity. Later in an interview, he states that he believes that his generation and any older generation are now incapable of coming up with the right decisions to fix or forward our society. In Children of Men, children are very literally the future. Though people still try and hold on to what they can, the film has an awful lot of dogs showing up in near every point. People couldn't have kids, but they could still have their best friends. Children in their own way. But the thing was, hope still shone through. But Cuarón sees hope in a bit of a weird way. He sees that hope is only there in the face of total adversity, real hope. That when the world is falling apart, and the people as well, hope shines through the strongest. And that's the kind of hope he wanted to show. The world may be in a bleak light, but Cuarón never wanted the end to be so. He wanted, if you were an optimist, that you'd get a good ending, and if you're a pessimist, then you could just stay hopeless. But either way, you'd have an option. Let's go. Unfortunately, the film was a flop. With a budget of $76 million, it only ever made 70. For some reason, it just never got the marketing it needed to survive. It was too ahead of its time, and eventually, it just fell into obscurity. But now, finally, it's getting the fan base it deserves again. Children of Men is one of the masterpieces of our modern society, and it's deserved to be seen by everybody.
Quite a coincidence that everyone in the house agrees that Gravity is Alfonso Cuarón's best film. Though I guess it's not hard to see why. Gravity was a much more personal film for Cuarón than one might realise. After Children of Men bombed, Alfonso took some time off from filmmaking and wouldn't release another film for 7 years. It was only after he and his son Jonas agreed to develop a script together about a struggle for survival that he felt truly inspired to return to filmmaking. And it was through this connection to the script that he was determined to complete the ambitious film despite the multitude of technical limitations he would have to endure. In his early years, Cuarón dreamt of becoming an astronaut, but when the sobering reality of age crushed his childish ambition, he settled for a much more sensible and realistic occupation, becoming an Oscar-winning director. However, Alfonso's connections to the themes of Gravity go much deeper. Borrowing from his studies as a philosophy major at university, Alfonso intended the menacing debris to be a metaphor for the adversity that is constant in life, but also the adversity that creates new meanings and new knowledge of ourselves.
astronaut is off structure. Dr. Stone is off structure. Dr. Stone, detach. You must detach. If you don't detach, that arm's going to carry you too far. Listen to my voice. You need to focus. I'm losing visual of you. In a few seconds, I won't be able to...
Handheld long takes were used uncompromisingly during the filming of Gravity to the point of insanity, where the available digital and practical effects technology needed to be advanced by nearly a decade in order to meet Alfonso Cuarón's demands. Let's take a look. Long takes were used in the filming of Gravity in order to immerse the audience in the events on screen, creating a film-going experience akin to a roller coaster ride. But this shooting style was incompatible with the traditional methods of simulating zero-G for film, specifically the vomit comet used for Ron Howard's Apollo 13, which produced a maximum of 20 seconds of zero-G footage. These results would not work for Cuarón's film, as he required some shots that lasted several minutes without cutting in order to achieve the intended immersive effect. Eventually, Cuarón and visual effects supervisor Tim Weber decided it was best to shoot the actors' faces and create everything else digitally. This involved suspending the actors inside an LED light box via a mechanical rig to completely simulate the gravity and lighting conditions, and filming with a mechanical arm that could fit inside the light box, whereas a camera crew could not, which produced a flawless array of seemingly impossible camera movements and long handheld Steadicam shots that were neither handheld nor required a Steadicam. With Gravity, Alfonso Cuarón proved he was a true auteur, taking a blockbuster premise with a blockbuster budget and infusing it with rich, personal, thematic, and stylistic detail, thereby elevating what could have been a generic sci-fi action-adventure flick into the Oscar-winning modern classic we know today, and solidifying Alfonso Cuarón as the king of heady sci-fi and impossibly intricate long takes.
Lunch is ready. Okay.
So I was thinking we could skip to Gravity next, because it's his best film.
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding. You come into my house and say something so profane?
Yeah, everyone knows And Your Mother 2 is his best film. It deals with adolescence so well.
Wait, you think softcore pornography is the best way to represent adolescence? I mean, do you really think it's better than the Harry Potter series? The Prisoner of Azkaban is clearly Alfonso Cuarón's
No,
best
you've got to
film.
be kidding. Children of Men absolutely blows it out of the water. Come on, it's so good. Look, your movies deal with children. Children of Men deals with the importance of children.
Do you really think that's good enough for it to be called his best film? I mean, The Prisoner of Azkaban has the best music, best script, and best visuals of them all. Have you seen those long takes?
Yes, in my film, and it does it so much better than you guys.
Are you kidding? If we're talking about straight long takes, then Children of Men blows it out the park. Like, seriously.
Whoa. You guys can't deny that Gravity is his most technically brilliant film.
Oh my god, shut up, Zach. Look, at least our films feel like Alfonso Cuarón films. Gravity is just some overhyped space melodrama.
At least he won in Best Director.
You know, maybe we should just appreciate that we're sitting here talking about an Oscar-winning director, right?
I mean, they are all pretty great films.
Yeah, this argument does seem kind of pointless.
Okay, but you have to admit the Children of Men is...
God damn it, Sam!